Hello, my name is Dr. Esther Schmidt. I'm the director of the Center for Historic Houses at Jindal Global University, today at City Palace Museum Udaipur, where we are having a collaboration with. This room is one of the most unique and exciting rooms, not only in City Palace Udaipur, but in India in general. It is called the Chini Chitrashali, and it is really unique and very special because of various reasons. One is it is the materiality. And you can see here these tiles. These are Chinese export tiles. The design, you can see buds of flowers, you can see flower baskets, scrolls here in the border, and you can see the beautiful translucency of the porcelain. That in itself is very unique. The design of these Kangxi export tiles comes from around 1690 to 1700, and the big question is, why are they here? And here over there, you can see in the niches some more ceramic tiles, but if you look carefully, they are quite different from the other ones. They are more pictorial, scenic, they are not as translucent, these are not porcelain tiles, but ceramic tiles, and instead of China, they come from the Netherlands, they are Dutch tiles. And if you look very carefully, you see these marks here, and here as well. And this tells us that they were certainly made in the Netherlands. These are nail marks from the production process. Now the big question is, why are these tiles here? And how was this room used? What significance did this room have? And in order to tell you a little bit more about it, we'll just have a quick look. Here, this is a pavilion, and here you have a Giroca or balcony overlooking the Manik Chowk, which was used for festivals, processions, and elephant fights, for example. On the other hand, you have here the open chalk, which is an example of the fluidity between the exterior and the interior, so typical of Indian palaces. Now, if we go a little bit closer, you see some beautiful figurines, and they are so-called Farangi subjects. You can see Europeans depicted here. If you look a little bit more carefully, you see this bottle here, which is typical of 18th century gin bottles from the Netherlands. If we look out, we see this beautiful open vista of the lake, with the lake palace. Now, coming back to the tiles, we have this blue and white scenario in the color scheme. Blue and white is typically associated with Chinese porcelain, which was only produced in China until about 1710, when it was produced in Europe, but this was really unique. The Chini Chitrashali was established under Maharana Sangram Singh in the first half of the 18th century. And you must imagine that at this time, this was a really remote place. You didn't really have many European visitors, so how did this come about? Well, we know that in 1711, there was a Dutch embassy here under Ketelau, originally born in Germany. He joined the VOC, the Dutch East India Company. He was on his way to meet the Mughal emperor, and he stopped here. And all of this had a huge impact on the palace, on the architecture, on the design. We know that in the 18th century, artwork from Europe was circulated, and we know that these images, for instance, are also related to this kind of visit of the Dutch embassy. I mentioned the gin bottle before, but it's also the kind of hats and the kind of European images. But what is so interesting about this is that there was this fascination and interest, kind of cosmopolitanism, and interest in something that was unique. This shows the kind of appreciation of the court at the time for things exotic. And ceramics are not very common for Rajput palaces. They were usually more found, date back to the Chini Khana, which was established by the Mughals. But you can see that certain ideas were taken over, others were unique and kind of specifically local. And I show you one more aspect. If you look carefully here, you have the mirror work. So we have the idea of cosmopolitanism, appreciation of this blue and white Chinese porcelain, almost like an Indian chinoiserie. And the Dutch tiles were not so much appreciated because of their content, which could be biblical, such as Mary and Jesus, but it was really the whole kind of feel of this kind of chinoiserie room. But also we have, I think, the idea of the lake, of the water, and this is also represented in both the tactile quality of the tiles, which are shiny, and you see that with a mirror, and you see that the uniqueness of the lake palaces in India with Jagni vase outside, the water also functions like a mirror. So I feel the exterior is really represented here in the interior. Also, we see other miniature paintings of a monsoon scene, where you see the terraces, usually monsoon rooms were viewing terraces on the upper part of the palace. And this is also related to water, to love, longing, desire, and I find all of these aspects are represented here. So I really hope that you come and visit and just explore this on your own. It is really unique, although we have these tiles in another fort in Jaisalmer, but the way it is interpreted and mediated here is entirely unique, so it's best to see it for yourself and understand these kind of images, here with the balcony also, understanding the ceremonial aspect of the Maharana, who would be sitting here and could be viewed from down below. And again, so you have this aspect there, and just a little bit about how the room was used. So we know from some depictions that there was a swing used by the Maharana. There would be nautch dances, there would be music, there would be games, for example. It was often used at night, hence I also use this kind of viewing terrace and the monsoon reference, so bioclimatic aspects as well. And I hope with this kind of little excursion I brought this spirit back to life, and we are looking forward to welcoming you.